video?
It's a video. It's a whole lot of money. Period. I know how to skate. 1, 2, 3.
This is Jarrett Mays, a 35-year-old Detroit father of 7 children who would be found shot multiple times in a parking lot on the 4th of July, 2024. Around 11 in the morning, while families across America were preparing for cookouts and fireworks, Jarrett was gunned down outside his apartment building in what investigators would describe as a fatal shooting with multiple gunshot wounds, including one to the head. But what makes this tragedy even more disturbing is what happened at the exact same apartment complex just 24 hours before Jarrett lost his life. Before we uncover what really happened during those 48 hours of terror, let me take you back to where Jarrett's story began, on Detroit's East Side, where he built a life that nobody saw coming to such a brutal end.
I don't want to link. I don't want to smoke. I don't want to drink. I don't want to stay the night. I don't want to. I don't.
You look.
Jarrett Mays wasn't just another statistic in America's gun violence epidemic. He was a hard-working entrepreneur who owned his own company called Shoe Solutions, a shoe cleaning business that reflected his entrepreneurial spirit and drive to provide for his family.
So when you ice and sew is the most important part of
Shoes, please.
Jordan, wow, back up some. When you need these shoes though?
Back to my foot. Can you just please clean them?
Alright, baby. Let me see. Man, what did you do? She did a number on these shoes. But luckily, I got solution, and I'm your dad, so I got you. All right.
I love you.
Kids. Same day service I just completed. Quick fix for my daughter. I happen to say these look pretty good. Even got inside the threads, and they were muddy. Hey Jordan, come look at your shoes.
I love them, Dad. Thank you.
They clean?
Yeah.
All right. You all set for school tomorrow.
But that was just one chapter of his remarkably diverse professional life. Jarrett also worked at Chrysler in automotive manufacturing, bringing home steady income to support his 7 children. He held a nursing certification and worked at Beaumont Hospital, providing health care to patients who needed it most. Before that, he'd put in time at UPS in logistics and had built up experience in skilled trades. The man was a hustler in the truest sense of the word, constantly working multiple angles to ensure his kids never went without. But Jarrett's ambitions extended beyond just paying the bills. He was involved in Detroit's local film scene, appearing in several movies filmed in the city, and was even slated to feature in an upcoming independent film called Caught in the Crossfire at the time of his death. His family described him as someone with a big heart who traveled often and maintained deep connections to his roots on Detroit's East Side. Friends who signed his funeral guest book called him sweet and caring and said he lit the room up whenever he entered. This was a man who had built something meaningful out of nothing, who had turned his life into a testament to perseverance and dedication.
Fitness is not just fitness. Fitness is personal growth. Fitness is transformation. Fitness is accountability. Fitness is mental health. Fitness is confidence. Fitness is strength. Fitness is therapy. Fitness is peace. Fitness is more than just fitness.
I think I realize and understand that I'm mature enough to know that I need to be a 6 a.m. gym person. Because you get everything done and still got time to go home, do whatever you need to do, go to work, or whatever. But yeah, the 6 a.m. gym life for me, for real, I feel good. Then it's like, ain't nobody in there for real. You got all the old folks. They in there doing whatever they do, not bothering you. It's quiet, it's peaceful. Yeah, I'm changing my gym time to 6 a.m. for real. Because I need that in my life. I need that.
He was exactly the kind of father his 7 children could look up to, exactly the kind of role model his community needed. And then, on the morning of July 4th, 2024, all of that potential, promise, and dreams were stolen in a hail of gunfire that would leave Jarrett Mays pronounced dead at the scene in the parking lot of the Peachtree Apartments in Clinton Township, Michigan. Officers responded promptly to reports of shots fired around 11 in the morning, arriving to find Jarrett suffering from several gunshot wounds, including one to the head. There were no immediate signs of suspects at the scene, weapons recovered, or eyewitnesses who stepped forward with information. But here's where this story takes its first truly disturbing turn, because just one day earlier, on July 3rd, 2024, another violent attack had occurred at the same apartment complex. Around midnight, a 29-year-old woman named Jennifer Marie Hayes had allegedly attacked her boyfriend with a knife, stabbing him 14 times during what was described as a domestic dispute. The victim, a man in his 40s, survived after being rushed to McLaren-Macomb Hospital, where he received treatment. Hayes was arrested and charged with assault with intent to murder, facing a potential life sentence. Both incidents occurring within 24 hours at the same apartment complex. And yet, according to Macomb County Prosecutor Peter J. Lucido, the two events were completely unrelated, treating them as isolated occurrences despite the proximity in time and location. But if you think those two violent episodes were anomalies at the Peachtree Apartments, think again, because this apartment complex had been ground zero for a disturbing pattern of bloodshed that stretched back months before Jarrett Mays took his last breath in that parking lot. On January 15, 2024, a 23-year-old man named Jayon Barnes was charged with murdering Tiana Ross, the mother of his child, during a custody exchange in the parking lot of the same Peachtree Apartments complex. The woman was killed during what should have been a routine drop-off. Barnes was prosecuted and charged with murder. Then, in April 2024, another shooting occurred at an apartment complex in Clinton Township, leaving 3 people injured in what investigators described as yet another incident of gun violence plaguing the area. And less than 24 hours after Jarrett's murder on July 4th, on July 5th, 2024, a woman was killed and a man was critically injured in yet another shooting in the 36,000 block of Harper Avenue in Clinton Township. That's 5 separate violent incidents within roughly 6 months, all occurring in or around the same community, all involving either shootings or stabbings, all leaving families shattered and communities terrified. The Peachtree Apartments had become a place where neighbors couldn't feel safe walking to their cars. The sound of gunshots had become almost routine, and death seemed to be lurking around every corner. And despite all of this bloodshed, these warning signs, and the obvious pattern of escalating violence, nobody seemed to be able to stop what was happening. In the immediate aftermath of Jarrett's murder, his family refused to let his death fade into just another statistic in Michigan's gun violence crisis. On July 6, 2024, just 2 days after the shooting, family and friends organized a candlelight vigil at the corner of Lenox and Linville on Detroit's East Side, the neighborhood where Jarrett was born and raised, the streets where he'd grown up dreaming of a better future for himself and his children. Dozens of people showed up to honor Jarrett's memory. They released balloons into the summer sky. They shared stories about the man he had been, the father he'd worked so hard to become, the dreams he'd had for his 7 children. And through their tears and their grief, they made one thing absolutely clear. They wanted justice. But justice would prove elusive.
Detroit at 11 starts right now.
Tonight, a father of 7 down on the 4th of July.
He was a good person.
How his family is honoring him tonight as the investigation into his continues. And delivering results. After mail trucks repeatedly tore up a Waterford man's lawn, we took his complaints to the post office. The update we're getting tonight. Plus good weather for getting outside.
High pressure's building in. That means some sunshine for your Sunday. But how long will it last? I'll have a look at the week ahead coming up.
But we begin with loved ones lifting up the memory of a Detroit father fatally shot on the 4th of July. Thank you for joining us tonight for 7 News Detroit at 11. I'm Darren Cunningham. Jarrett Mays was found down early Thursday morning outside the Peachtree Apartments in Clinton Township. As police continue their investigation, friends and family gather for a vigil on Detroit's east side tonight. 7 News Detroit reporter Tiara Braddock was there and shows us how the father of 7 is being remembered.
The vigil for Jarrett Mays was held here on the corner of Lenox and Linville on Detroit's east side. He was born and raised here, and his family wanted to have the vigil in the area that he called home.
It hurts. It hurts to see someone at 35 years old who had their whole life ahead of them now gone.
Lori Mays, Jarrett's aunt, was one of many people who came to the vigil to honor the father of 7.
He was a good person, a very good person, a very loved person, a good dad. And it's very heartbreaking that he is no longer with us. Very heartbreaking.
Mays was shot and killed on the 4th of July at his apartment complex in Clinton Township.
It was kind of unbelievable, you know, because Jarrett wasn't that type of person. He was a real strong character guy who just went to work, very passionate about everything he did.
Rod Walker is Mays' cousin. He says Mays was loved by so many people.
He was really like a role model to me, so I can picture that he was a role model to a lot of others, you know.
Mays worked at Chrysler, and according to his aunt Lori, he accomplished so many things in his 35 years of life.
He owned his own company called Shoe Solutions. He worked at Chrysler. He was a nurse by trade. He also was a skilled trades. He had trained for that. He worked at UPS. He worked at Beaumont as a nurse.
While Mays' family is mourning his death, they are also seeking answers in his.
What we do want to see is we do want to see justice. We want people to speak up. This is not a time to be quiet. We want them to tell what happened so this can, this person can be prosecuted. They took a father away from a lot of children.
If you have any information that will help police solve the murder of Jarrett Mays, make sure you contact them. You can find their contact information on our website, wxyz.com. Reporting on the east side.
The Clinton Township Police Department's Criminal Investigations Division launched a thorough investigation, canvassing the apartment complex, interviewing residents, and reviewing surveillance footage from security systems around the property. They were looking for any scrap of evidence, any witness account, any detail that could help them identify who had pulled that trigger and stolen Jarrett Mays from his children. But no eyewitnesses came forward publicly. No one seemed willing to talk and risk becoming the next victim. Lori Mays, Jarrett's aunt, who had become the family's primary spokesperson, repeatedly urged the public to come forward with information. She emphasized that someone knows something about what happened that morning. She begged potential witnesses to think about Jarrett's 7 children growing up without their father. Now, here's what makes this case even more frustrating and tragic. More than a year has passed since that July 4th morning when Jarrett Mays was gunned down, and as of today, there have been absolutely zero updates on the investigation. The Clinton Township Police Department has remained silent. The Macomb County Prosecutor's Office has issued no press releases related to Jarrett's case. It's as if the investigation has simply vanished into bureaucratic limbo, leaving a grieving family with nothing but questions and a community with a killer still walking free. This deafening silence stands in stark contrast to what happened with the stabbing case from July 3rd. Remember Jennifer Marie Hayes, the woman who allegedly stabbed her boyfriend 14 times the night before Jarrett was killed? Well, her case moved forward with remarkable efficiency. She was arraigned on July 5, 2024, with bond set at $250,000. A probable cause hearing was held on July 15th. The case advanced to Macomb County Circuit Court, where a jury trial was held in November 2025. And after 5 to 6 days of testimony and evidence presentation, the jury deliberated for fewer than 5 hours before convicting Hayes of assault with intent to murder on November 21, 2025. She now faces up to life in prison and is scheduled for sentencing on January 8, 2026. So why did Jennifer Hayes' case race through the judicial system while Jarrett Mays' murder investigation seemingly stalled out completely? The answer reveals uncomfortable truths about how our criminal justice system actually works. In Hayes's case, there was a clear victim who survived and could testify. There was an identifiable perpetrator who was arrested at the scene. Physical evidence, medical records, and witness statements. It was, as prosecutors say, a slam-dunk case. But Jarrett's murder? That's a different story entirely, because no one seems willing to talk, likely out of fear of retaliation or distrust of law enforcement. Without witness cooperation, without forensic evidence linking a specific individual to the crime, without surveillance footage clearly showing the shooter, investigators are left chasing shadows. Jarrett's name now appears on the National Gun Violence Memorial, listed among the thousands of Americans killed by firearms each year. Social media tributes have kept his memory alive, with Instagram posts from Black Detroiters describing him as a father of 3 girls, an entrepreneur, son, brother, and friend, though most sources consistently report he had 7 children total, suggesting some tributes focused only on part of his family. This case mirrors another unsolved Detroit murder that happened 16 years earlier. In June 2008, a 34-year-old father named Don Jefferson Jr. was shot and killed at his doorstep on Detroit's East Side. Like Jarrett, Don was a devoted father with dreams and ambitions. He was killed in broad daylight near his home, and his case went cold with no arrests ever made. Don's family held press conferences in 2018 and 2019 begging for information. By 2022, on the 14th anniversary of his death, they were still seeking justice. And as of today, Don Jefferson's murder remains unsolved.
They've gone far too long without getting the justice they deserve. A grieving Detroit family breathing new life into a case that has gone cold. We'll start there at 5:30. It has been 10 years, almost to the day, since Don Jefferson Jr. was gunned down in the middle of the night on Detroit's East Side.
And today, his family came forward hoping a new reward will draw up clues in the case. Our Priya Mann spoke to them as they search for justice.
Don Jefferson Jr. spent the day boating with friends when he got a call to come back home. Around 1 in the morning, there was a knock at the door, and when he answered, he was shot and killed.
It's been 10 long years, and the information is there.
Don Jefferson Jr.'s family is pleading for someone to come forward.
As a family, we're just looking for closure, and we want other families and everyone else in the community to know that this person is still out there. Let's not give them any more opportunity to be a burden to someone else's family or to hurt anyone else.
It's been nearly a decade since the husband and father was in his front doorstep. He was in the 19,000 block of Hickory Street near 7 Mile and Shaner on the east side. He was just 34 years old.
He's missed out on a lot of things. He's missed out on a godson that he's never met. And we just want closure.
He was definitely a good man, and he didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves to be by anybody.
The family has no idea who would want to hurt the aspiring designer and the father of one. With no new leads, the family is turning to Crime Stoppers to help solve the cold case.
We do keep in contact with the detectives, and they are not getting cooperation from people that they call, want to interview.
I think after 10 years, that's enough time to give information out to help bring a case to be closed, especially a case like a that's been unsolved.
Crime Stoppers is offering a $2,500 reward for information that leads to an arrest. If that information comes in before midnight, they'll add another $1,000 to that reward. And of course, your call is anonymous. I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
The parallels are haunting. 2 devoted fathers, unsolved murders, and 2 families trapped in an endless cycle of grief and unanswered questions. And both cases highlight a disturbing pattern. When gun violence occurs in predominantly black communities in Michigan, when victims don't have high-profile status or media connections, when witnesses are too afraid to speak up, justice becomes less of a guarantee and more of a lottery. Jarrett Mays deserved better than this. His 7 children deserved better than this. His family, still waiting for answers more than 17 months after his death, deserves better than this. Every person living in fear at the Peachtree Apartments, wondering if they'll be next, deserves better than this. What do you think about this case? Let me know in the comments section. Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this, or click on one of the videos linked in the description to follow more chilling investigations into gruesome murder cases.